Hello, everybody. I'm Amy with Altenew, and it's Thursday, and we are live for a little crafty chat and making a few cards. So I'm so glad that you can join me. I'm just waiting a couple of minutes for some people to come on. And if you're out there and can see what I'm doing, go ahead and type in where you're from. Curious to know where you're joining me today. So I'm just waiting a couple minutes to get some people on. And thank you again for joining me with Altenew on Thursdays for this little crafty chat. And we're going to be working with the eucalyptus jar stamp and die and mask set. All right, if you could go ahead and type in where you're from. I'm coming to you from the Northeast of the United States, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. Lots and lots in store. Lots and lots of store for you. So, so excited to see you all here today. Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera down and go ahead and get started. And I am so excited to share all the things we're going to do today. And since today is kind of a kind of a throwback Thursday, I hope that with this stamp set, this is definitely one of my favorites. It's from a new release, but I'm also, the focus here today is really about encouraging you to take a look at what you have and take a look at what stamp sets you have that you can use like a lot of different pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and move my camera down. And I'm just having a little trouble with comments coming through. So let me know. My Lydia is behind the badge today. So hi, Lydia. How are you doing? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, it might be a little delay in getting to some comments, but please let me know where you're coming from and just go ahead and put those in the comments. Thank you so much. I'm going to flip my camera down and we're going to go ahead and get started today. All right, so as you can see, we're going to start with the eucalyptus jar stamp, die, and mask set. And I absolutely love this set. This set is so versatile. There's so much in this. You get this huge image, which we're going to be playing with today, and you get all of these other sentiments. And what's nice with the die set is that you can actually cut this out, or as I'm going to show you today, you can actually just cut out parts of it. And then this little die cuts out these circles, and we're going to be playing around with those a little bit today. But there's so many nice sentiments in here, and you can use them just in different ways as well. There's also a mask with it, and what the mask allows you to do is you can put this on your stamped image, or you can even ink around it, or just ink up the jar itself if you put that on and want to make a one-layer card. All right, so we're going to start today with the watercolor marker set. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stamp using the watercolor marker. So I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. And what I would love to know in the comments is, do you have, or have you tried to stamp using watercolor markers? So I'm going to go ahead and put this right here and just get this piece of paper down. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in my MISTI. And the watercolor marker sets that I'm using are the Winter Wonderland set. This is a great set of markers, and I actually swatch it out and just keep my swatch right with me, right in the package. And I'm also going to be using the Altenew Spring Garden set. And let me show that to you here. So this is the Altenew Spring Garden set. And I swatch that out as well and just keep the swatch with me. And this is the Spring Garden set. And what's really nice about these markers is that they are able to, you can do so many things with them in addition to just, in addition to just even watercoloring with them. You can also use them in order to, you can also use them to do what we're going to do today, which is to color with them on a stamp. So eucalyptus, their leaves are kind of like a greenish color. And so what I'm going to do is, let me put this a little bit more into focus here. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to start out with this lagoon. And I'm literally just going to brush this right onto my stamp. Now I want a little bit of variation, so you can see I'm just kind of going a little bit over it. The leaves are over here too, a little bit of here. And I want a little bit of variation in there as well. So I'm going to grab another green, and this is the emerald green. And I'm going to just kind of put some of this here just for a little bit of variation, just so I get a couple of different colors. Okay. And can you tell me in the comments, do you have this set? Do you have these watercolor brush markers or a different type? This is the espresso. And with the espresso, I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of do these stems a little bit. And I'm just, again, putting this on a little bit just to give it a little bit of variation to it. And I'm going to get these flowers, and I want to use a pink for the flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and use, not that one. Oh, and we're having a little bit of a delay with the comments, but just to let you know, if you share this today, you have an opportunity to win, here it is. You have an opportunity to win a $15 gift voucher to Altenew. So please make sure that you share that. And it's Lydia behind the badge today. She is helping me out and helping me out so much. So thank you so much, Lydia. Now, I want to take this and I want to stamp it down, but before I do that, I want to make sure that I do the jar as well. So I'm going to grab this color, which is Dusk. It's this really, really beautiful blue. And I'm going to go ahead and put this right onto here. And there's a little like silver part here. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of metallic silver, and there's just a little bit of the top of this jar. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fill this in with the metallic silver. So you can see that these are such nice juicy markers. So now that I have that all set, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little spritzer bottle, and I'm just going to spritz this just to kind of get those colors moving together. Not too much, but just a little bit of a spritz. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to stamp that right down. And I'm just going to move that along. So I'm getting that ink to really move in and get into that watercolor paper that I have back here. And I am using watercolor paper because I do have quite a bit of water on this. And I think this would, for regular paper, we would kind of warp it out a little bit. So you can see you get this really, really, really nice image that has all of that nice, beautiful kind of layered piece to it. Looks so nice. All right, so what I'm going to do is, before I move on, I'm going to wipe my stamp off. And I said this last time, how many of you guys, do you clean up as you go, or do you just kind of like leave stuff over to the side? So I'm wiping my stamp off as best I can. And I'm going to peel that off. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to color it in. And this is going to be very, very quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use these. These are great. These are the Altenew watercolor brush, watercolor pens, I guess. And I have them labeled as fine and large tip. And because you have this, you can literally kind of pull the color in from the edges. Now, if the color's not moving still, what I can do is I work on a glass mat. And yeah, Sue, there is this metallic silver. I'm going to use it again later on. It's so nice. And this one is in the Winter Woodland stamp set. That one is, in the watercolor brush marker set. So what I have here is I just put this down on my craft mat, and I'm just going to take a little bit of this blue, and I'm just going to go ahead and brush that in. And what's nice about these is I can just grab water right from it, and I can grab that water as well. Oh, thank you so much, Christiane's Crafty Adventures. I really appreciate it. This is a great and easy technique. And especially like you think like, oh my gosh, you must have spent a lot of time on it. Heck no. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of a little bit of a lazy crafter. Like I'm really looking for techniques and things that give me a wow without me having to do too much. And so this is one of those things that definitely helps out a lot. Don't think I want the Persian blue. I'm going to grab a lighter blue, and I am looking specifically for, here it is, Sea Breeze. Now this is from the spring set. This is a Sea Breeze, and what's great about these markers is I can make my own color, and you see how deliciously bright this Sea Breeze is versus the dusk. So I'm going to take these two, mix a little bit together, and then I can come in and I can go ahead and continue to paint. I want to get it a little bit watery. And this goes so quick once you kind of get it down. And what's nice is you can grab those edges. It's going to soften all of those edges that we stamped. And it's just going to look so great. It's so fast. I don't know if I know of any other watercolor brush sets. These are the ones that I work with, but what I love about them is they are so highly pigmented. And I really like the freedom to mix my own colors. In fact, one of my friends, very good friend, she is the director of fine and performing arts at a high school near me, and I worked with her for a very long time. And I said to her, you know, I started taking watercolor. What do I got to do? And she said, what you need to do is you need to learn how to mix your own colors. And what's nice is each of these sets has 10 pens in them, but you can mix and match them to create whatever it is that you need. I'm going to bring in a little bit of this light blue, and you can see how fast this goes. So I'm just going to brighten this up here. And what's nice about watercolor is like every single time, these go so quick. Look at that. Nice little jar done. Boom. And so what I'm going to do next is, and what's great about this is I don't have to clean this off. I just kind of push it over there and it's all clean. There we go. We're done. And I move on. I don't have to sit there and flip brushes or do any of that stuff. Like I said, for me, a little bit of a lazier crafter, so I want to make sure that things get done quick. I got some emerald that I'm going to put over here. And I also got that lagoon that we had stamped in. So I'm going to put that over here on the side as well. And then I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this, and I'm just going to go in really lightly, grab a little bit more water to water these down. And I'm just going to go in. Let me get a little emerald in there so it looks a little bit different from the jar. And see, I can just go right from leaf to leaf. Grab a little bit of water, and I'm going right from leaf to leaf. And you're trying to make this, you know, it's okay that it's a little bit on the messier side, because I want that, because I'm looking for a watercolor loose look. But this is a technique that is really, really fast. And that's what I like about this stamp set, is it gives you a lot of versatility. So with this first image, it's such a big image. So we're going to take that and we are going to use the whole entire image for this first pass. Now you can see that this leaf was like, maybe I didn't want to come out so good, so I can just kind of watercolor that piece in. And if I want it a little bit darker, I can make that. If I want it a little bit greener, I'll even take some of this dusk and sea breeze and mix it in with there, and I'm going to get a new leaf color. And I'm just looking for variation, things that are a little bit different, so your eye's not settling on one part or looking at one thing completely. So how about you guys? Would you like to spend a lot of time making cards, or are you like, I just need to get this project done and it just needs to get done? How many of you out there are like me, just kind of like looking to get it done a little bit? All right, so we got that. I'm going to use the brown. So this is the brown. I'm actually going to mix it in with the green. And what I really like about this espresso is it's not too dark of a brown. It's a really light brown. And I can mix it in with some other colors to get kind of some variation in it. Let me lighten that up a little bit. And I'm just going to pull in this into the branches down here. And you can see that nice metallic silver, and see how it blended in with the blue and the green? And it just kind of makes its own color. And I really like that about it. So I'm just kind of, again, making it a little loose. And I'm okay with like some of this brown kind of goes into the leaves. You want variation. If you look at anything in nature, it's not really one color. It's a whole variety of things. And so there we go. So we get this really, really fast little watercolored image. Looks great, and that took me, I don't know, not that much time at all. And I got my brush, and my brush is all clean. I'm good to go. So what we're going to do next is I'm actually going to cut this out. I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to set it aside to dry for just a second. But we're going to end up putting this on our card front, and I'm actually going to back it with quite a few layers of itself. So I want to take my card, and I want to kind of create some visual interest to it. And one of the easiest ways that I find to do that is by doing a spotlight stenciling. Yeah, I agree, Brenda. I tend to also overthink. I have to just sometimes like let things go and just be like, you know what? I think I'm good. It is good. It's, you know, it is what it is. You'll see another thing of my messy crafting is I don't really tape my stencils down. I just kind of go and stencil. You'll notice I'm also stenciling on a card front. Are you guys brave enough to do that? Does anybody do that where you just kind of like stencil right on the card front instead of doing it on a separate sheet of paper? That's me. I do that. So I'm using... This is the garden trellis stencil. This is another versatile thing. And that's really the aim of today, is to talk about versatility in your projects. Oh, and Lisa, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now that you've been doing it a while, it's like you want something quick that you kind of get down. I cannot say enough things about this Altenew blending brush. I love the size of it because it's nice and big. And then also you'll notice that for this, it just is going to be able to cover this really, really nice section. So I'm just doing kind of a spotlight coloring. I don't really want to color the whole thing. So I'm just going to kind of spotlight it around. And this is such a versatile thing. And that's really our name today, is shop your supplies and see what you have that you can use to be versatile. And I thank you all for joining me today. Thank you so much. I hope we're having a good time. I apologize for I'm trying to get to the comments, and thank you, Lydia, for helping me out with the comments. Very, 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 very helpful today. And you can see, so for this ink, I'm using vanilla cream, which is part of the Delectable Delights set. And what I love about this is it almost looks gold. When I put this vanilla cream down, it almost looks gold on the page. And I love that. But it just gives this really nice neutral. So you just get a little bit of interest in that card. Not everywhere. You want it kind of soft, but just a little bit of interest. All right, so now that we have our card base ready to go, what we're going to do is I'm going to grab, and believe it or not, this mini blossom can actually fit this die even though that this thing is so large, we can actually cut this out of the mini blossom. I just have to take my piece of paper and cut it down a little bit, but this will actually fit through. So I'm just going to take this, just kind of cut down the sides so it fits inside the mini blossom. Put this right on. And I am going to use a little bit of piece of tape. I don't always do that, but I am going to use a little bit of tape just to make sure that this is all lined up. Okay, and I'm going to run this right through. I love this little mini blossom. It's really great. It's very, very easy to have out on your desk. And just go ahead and run this right through. And it's very, 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 very quick. And I don't always like to, on the lives, use my big machine. This will roll right through. And you can see how quick and easy and fast that comes through. And there we go. So this is our first card. So we're going to take a minute to put this together. And like I said, it's really today about kind of like shopping your supplies. What is it that you have that you can use? And I really, really like this stamp set because of the versatility of it. All right, let's see. So you can see how nice those colors are going to come out on this. So I want to add a little bit of texture to this. And what I did so this is a little bit of the magic of television, is I took the milk chocolate color. That's the darkest color in the Delectable Delight set. And I stamped out, and then I also heat embossed the sentiment. And I don't know if you can see that shine on it, but I always love adding a little bit of clear embossing powder just to really kind of make my sentiments sing and stand out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit and get a little bit of texture on this. And we're actually going to use this tag. So I'm going to punch a hole right in here. All right, so you can see I punched that hole, and then I'm going to punch a hole right in here. And another one right on the other side of my die cut. If I can get it in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to string this in. So I have just some baker's twine left over from a project that I'm going to use, if I can find the edge of it. Here it is. So I'm just going to put that right through the hole. Put my thanks on it. So that's through. Then I'm going to cut the other end. Put that through. How many of you use some different types of supplies, like not just stamps, but things like ribbon or twine or thread. Altenew has a beautiful thread set. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Just going to go ahead and tie this on. It's hard to do a bow when you're live on camera. Okay, and there's my bow. All right, so I got a little bow. So here's our die cut, watercolored, with a little bit of nice texture from the paper, from the color that we added in, and also from this little sentiment. And I'm going to now also kind of puff it up on the thing. So I've already pre-cut a whole bunch, and this is where I use like all of my scraps from, is I take my scraps and anything that I'm like, I tried, but it just didn't work. What I do is I use this in order to make those other things. All right. Thanks, Anne. Yes, Teresa, I absolutely agree with you. You need crystals, threads, sequins, any kind of nice things in order to add some dimension in. And what's nice about the paper is you can kind of build the right dimension instead of using foam tape. And sometimes with like these detailed die cuts, to put the foam tape in is a little bit harder. So I just like stacking up. So this is 4 little stacks put together. So now I'm going to put my nice one on top. And how many of you out there actually save all of the, like all your little pieces and things? I tend to do that a lot. I save all my scraps because you just never ever know when you're going to need them. I'm just poking through and making sure I get all the little bits out. All right, that's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to put this on. Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, and now we're going to finish this. I'm going to add some glue to the back side. All right, and then this is going to go right on my card. And there we go. So this is really quick, really, really easy to kind of stop. Yeah, I know. I never know when to stop. I have that problem. I have must add more disease. Absolutely. So you can see the nice colors there, the nice shine that happens on this little sentiment. And you can see the nice, the trellis stencil gives it some texture as well in the back, and just really kind of allows that die cut to pop off the stage. So this is one way to use that eucalyptus stamp and die set, just by making one of these. So I wanted to now talk about using it in a different way. And I want to go back to our stamp set. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make my own background paper. And how many of you do that? Like if you just like, oh, I just don't have the right color. It's just not so super great. How many of you actually make your own background paper? So I just got a sheet of white paper here. And again, I'm just going to use this. I tend to just kind of clean it off. This thing cleans off really, really easily. And even though it's got a little yellow on, it's still ready to go. I'm going to grab some seashore. This set is Seashore set. And it's a nice, really, really pretty teal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the lightest color, which is Mountain Mist and Volcano Lake. And I may throw in a little bit of Lagoon. Let's see if I feel a little crazy today. All I'm trying to do here is I just want to get some color down. Eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to just die cut out our big jar. That's what I want out of this. So I'm not looking for anything crazy. I just want to die cut out the jar. And I'm going to use the jar, and I'm going to actually pair it up with another die set that had come out called Just Leaves. And I'll show you how I kind of did that in just a second. So I'm just blending my inks on here. And I'm just making my own paper. And this Mountain Mist is so light. So you can put a lot of layers down, which is really nice. So I'm just putting down all of these layers. Now I'm going to come in because I want a little bit more variation. So I'm going to bring in this volcano lake, which is the second color. And I don't need it everywhere. I just kind of want to get it down a little bit. And again, I really like making my own paper. It's good. That way you can get exactly the color you want. All right, so here comes that this one is Lagoon. And do you guys notice I'm using the labels? This is a great way to label because sometimes I just kind of take off the lids and then I forget which base it goes to. So it really has been a great way to help me. So you can see I get some variation in there, and that's what I'm looking for. I want it to be a little dark. I want it to be a little light. Now, if you haven't done this before, I really encourage you to try this. I'm just grabbing a blank piece of paper, and I'm just kind of cleaning off my, and you can see how much ink I've already laid down. So I'm just kind of cleaning this off just to get whatever I can get off. What I do when I make my own paper like this is I actually add a little layer from the Enchanted Gold pigment ink from Altenew. This gives it this wonderful gold shine. And this is my little trick. So I'm sharing this little trick with you all. So I'm hoping that you can catch it on camera as I go through. And this goes on like butter. It's so nice. So I don't know if you can see that shine. It's so nice and shiny. It just gives it this like little gold piece to it. It's so nice. Now, I'm also going to take my card base. And what I'm going to do with my card base is I'm actually going to ink this up as well. So I'm just going to kind of ink off here. Flip this over. And then I'm just going to grab a little bit of that volcano lake, which is the second color. And I just want to get a little bit of interest, and I'll show you why in a second. Just going to get a little bit of interest. I don't need to go crazy. I'm not going down the whole entire card. I just want to get a little bit of interest on the side just to give me an edge. And I'll show you why in a second. And I really do like this ink blending tool because it goes down here. All right, and again, lazy crafting, not masking. Just being really careful up here on the side. There we go. All right, so right now what I have is I have a card base. We've made our own paper. We've made our own colored paper using the ink blending with the seashore inks, and I spread a little bit of this pigment ink right over it. And then, so that's this. And then I took those same colors and I just inked along the side of my card base. So we'll come back to this in just a second. Now there's one more thing I want to do. So let me show you guys this die set. This is the Just Leaves die set. And it's so nice because it comes with all of these varieties. And today is all about versatility. And this is a set that is very, very versatile. So what I want to do is I want to die cut all these, but I'm going to die cut them all out of paper that I'm about to create. And what I'm going to do is grab a piece of watercolor paper. Let me put that down. And I'm actually going to bring those watercolor brush markers back in, and I'm going to bring them in similar colors. So we're going to use Emerald, and we're going to use the Lagoon. And I think I want to use a little bit of brown and a little bit of yellow, just for a little bit of variation. And you know what? Let's bring that metallic silver in because this is really, really cool. So what I have here is I have a flat brush. This is a 3/4 inch flat brush. And I have just a pan of water. And it's okay that it's colored because that will just add to everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm first going to just add some water to this. And a little trick, and this one was a huge shout out to Lydia who showed me this trick, is to get your card to lay flat, you actually want to wet both sides. So you'll see how my paper's curling up? I'm actually going to get it to lie flat in just a second. And so by wetting both sides, my paper is now flat. Okay. So now that my paper totally has water on it, I'm going to take some of this lagoon and I'm going to go ahead and put this down. And you can just see this beautiful, nice pigment that comes out. And how many of you out there like to make your own paper or make your own colored paper? I'm just going to add in some emerald. I'm just going to kind of use the paper in order to push them around. So I'm going to get some more water. And again, I'm looking for variation. And this is just a really easy way to get variation in my backgrounds. So you can see that nice green. I got a little bit of that lagoon. That emerald is working in. Let me grab this citrus burst, and I'm going to use that in the bottom. Oh, look at that beautiful yellow, beautiful yellow. And let me pull that up. And I love it, the fact that I put it in with the green, because that's going to make this really, really nice lemony green. Look at how great that looks. All right, and let me get a little bit more lagoon down here. Get that down here. And very, very easy to do. And again, this may look, you'd be like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? This looks like a hot mess. It's totally fine, because I'm not going to use this background. I could, if I wanted to, use this background as is. But what I'm looking to do is I'm actually going to die cut from it. And that's the nice thing. If you have any backgrounds that you're like, oh my God, what happened there? Use them as die cutting. And it's, again, versatility. It's something that you're like, people won't even know. They're like, oh my gosh, that's great. Or if you have like the most ugly pattern paper and you just don't know what to do about it, use it in order to die cut things out. And actually it will look good. All right, so I just wanted to show you this metallic silver. So if I put this on here and just kind of smoosh that around, you can see that it gives the most nice metallic shine. And this is from the Winter Wonderland set. So I think if I had to buy one, I don't know, I'm kind of torn between the winter set and the spring set, I have to say. I think I'm torn between both of those. All right, I'm just going to get a little bit more lagoon on here, just to give me a little bit more blue. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to set this aside to dry. So you can see, just to kind of show you, yeah, my paper is completely saturated, but you can see we have this nice variation and this nice gradient of color. And it's a little metallic-y. I know it's still wet, so it's a little hard to see, but we also have a little bit of metallic shimmer in it. So that is two ways that you can get your own colored paper. So one, we used ink blending, and the other one is we use these watercolor brush markers for it. All right, so let me know. I know we're having a little bit of a delay with the comments, and I apologize for that. Blending brush per colorway. Kimberly, blending brush per colorway. Yeah, I think you know what, it's really hard. Oh, I wanted to take this moment while we're letting that little piece of paper dry. I'm going to show you guys a little little thing that I do. I actually have a book where I keep all my swatches. And so even though this is watercolor paper, I still do like the artist markers in here. But I have all of the colors. So this is the spring, and those are nice and big. And you can see the variation that you get with the greens. And the one that I've been really using today is the winter. And I really love this lagoon. It's such a beautiful, nice blue. And there's that metallic silver. It's so nice. And you see how light that espresso could be? But it also comes with the black. So you have this ability to really kind of push colors together. Like my art teacher friend said, I use it on the paper because I feel like I can get it can go really, really fast, and I can get a lot of nice color down. And so I put it on the paper first because I can mix it on there versus putting it on the mat. I was putting it on the mat when I wanted to make sure that I was controlling my color. And so that was what I was doing. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of, because I wanted to get 3 card projects done today, and so I'm going to do a little bit of magic here. Is I've now taken our piece of paper that we had made our own color on, and I cut that out. So here it is where I really just want the jar, and I really don't even care about the top of it right now. Although this itself would be pretty cool because you have this beautiful graduation of color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to keep my jar, and I'm cutting off the leaves. Okay, so those are gone, trash. And I'm going to bring in my card base again. And you can see how nice those line up with each other. And I've actually used another die. It's called the Creative Edges Scalloped Die Set. And I've used that. It comes with 2 pieces. One is with this wavy scallop edge, and the other one is with the dots. So you can use it with the dots or without. And I decided to use it with the dots. But it gives it this nice little decorative edge, and that's all I wanted. I just wanted the edge to it. So we're going to take this, I'm going to go ahead and tamp that down right now just to get this on my card base. Okay, and this is why I use semi-permanent adhesive. You know the little trick about doing it this way? So you put it down so it's lined up. So that way your edges are straight. Okay, so now we have our nice base. We got our nice clean, but you still have that beautiful seashore color in there. I'm going to take this. We're not going to put that down yet. And what I've done is using the Just Leaves die set. I took a piece of paper that I made last night because I had to let it dry a little bit. And I actually cut out a bunch of leaves. And let me just show you. So we went from this background where we were able to kind of take it and mix it up. And like I said, I like to put it on, I like to put the color right on the paper because it makes it just, it's just really fast and quick and easy. And I feel like it's a little bit more organic where I don't want to necessarily be in control of how that actually mixes through. And so I die cut it out, and you can see this such beautiful variation within these leaves. And so I get a little bit of that lemony yellow. I get a little bit of that lagoon. I get a little bit of that emerald here. And you just have all of this beautiful, this one's great too. You can just see all of this variation in there. So what I'm going to do on my jar is I'm actually going to, this one is a sentiment that I stamped out just like I had done with the first thanks. And this is with the Obsidian black ink. And I also used the Altenew clear embossing powder just to give it a little bit of shine. And just like I did on the first one, I'm actually going to make a little tag out of it. So I'm going to take my jar and I'm going to punch these in, take a little bit more of that baker's twine from before, and I'm just going to feed this through. And go ahead and feed this through as well. So I hope you guys are kind of seeing the versatility of mixing different things and mixing stamps and mixing other die sets that you have in order to come up with some different projects. And that's what I like about this eucalyptus set. Does anybody have this set, by the way? Is this a set that some people have purchased and maybe you have used it or you haven't used it yet? All right. I got to tell you, tying bows, not my best thing that I do, but I keep working at it. Keep working at it. All right, we have about 15 more minutes left in this live today, and I think I have just enough time. I really tried to make sure I was pushing it a little bit by trying to give you guys 3 different projects using this same stamp set. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just put this down right on my paper. So there's our jar and there's our sentiment. And all I'm going to do is just kind of put these and lay these around. So I'm going to have them coming on up. Let me use that big guy. There he is. And I can put it behind, I can put it in front, and I can even cut these off. So you can see how big this little guy is. He's a little too big for this card. So let me cut off the top of him. There we go. Cut off the top of him. And I'm just going to put a couple more pieces in. And I'm going to just add a couple more here. So you can see, and I'll even take the ones that I cut off and I'll add those on as well. So you can see just how beautiful that looks. All the texture, everything that we have from the sentiment to the different leaves, and we made our own paper and a card base and used the watercolor brush markers for our paper there. All right, so the third card that I'm going to do with you today is I'm actually going to use the sentiments. And this stamp set has so many sentiments. And we're going to use, thank you so much, Kimberly Carey Crawford. I really appreciate it because I really hope that you guys like these cards I came up with today. And I'm actually going to use this huge block down here. But first, before I do that, we're going to bring the Misty back in. And again, we're going to make our own background paper. So I'm going to grab a piece of cardstock. This is, again, just regular white cardstock. And I'm going to use warm grays. And I really like the warm grays, and especially with this because my color palette seems to be on the tealy side. And it just gives a nice neutral to it. So this is Morning Frost, which is the lightest gray. And I'm just going to go back and bring in this stamp set. And all I really care about right now is I'm going to stamp out the leaves. And I'm going to do it all over. So I'm going to end up with a background that looks like this, where those leaves are all there in the background. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to do my best here, moving my paper around. While I'm doing that, can you guys let me know, in your stash, do you kind of use, like when you have a stamp set, do you, just kind of use it that one time? Do you try to use it and be versatile about it, a mix and match stuff? Do you use sentiments of the stamp set as kind of the focal point? All right, this is even cooler because I got all that green left. This is awesome. So I'm trying to make this a little bit more on the random side, and you can see I'm hanging out of the Misty. It's okay. Everything's okay. And what I want is a lot of variation. I'm looking for a little bit of gray. I do want to make sure that all my leaves are going in the same direction. I was thinking about that and having different leaves, but I really do want to make sure that my leaves are going in the same direction. So I'm going to notice I'm not masking either, but I am trying to make it a little bit on the varied side. But when you get a stamp set, do you kind of think about that stamp set and how you might use it in different ways? So I'm really curious to know, because I try to think about different ways that I could use things. And whether it's dyes or how I can combine things together, I'm always thinking about different ways to use stuff. So I hope that you are coming across some ideas today. So again, now we're just using the leaves, and I'm just making a little background pattern. I'm going to put that up there. Now this is going to be tricky. Let me put this up here. All right, so I want to make sure that. I think I'm right about here. If I get it over, it's okay because I'm going to put a big, huge stamp in there. But that's okay if I get it over. All right, but you can see again, I'm just like really, really quick, not really masking, just making a little bit of a background because I just want kind of like the idea or the semblance of the fact that there's just some texture in the background. And so I'm getting it just from the leaves of this stamp. All right, I think this is just the very top of it. It's right to about here. How's it look? All right, that's not bad. All right, so you can see we now have this background that has some texture to it. It's really nice and light. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to take that very large sentiment block, and I am actually going to do some masking. I know you guys were like, I want you to see you go free range on this, but it's not going to happen, people. I'm just telling you right now. Not going to happen. So I just have a little piece of paper here. This is going to fit right along it. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of rainbow stamping. And I am not one of those people that cuts up their stamps. I don't know about you. Stamp surgery is a little bit... oh, thank you so much, Teresa. I really appreciate it. And Sue, I'm so glad you're with us today. I was hoping to see you or talk to you anyway. Thank you so much for joining my other live and giving me tons and tons of comments. I really appreciated it. All right, so for this stamp, I am actually going to mask, but I'm going to mask the stamp. And so this is a little bit of a little trick that I do because I do not cut my stamps because I am kind of, that freaks me out. I don't know. It's just that whole like, I don't know if I can do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in rainbow order. I'm actually going to start out with all these, the second colorway of all of these. And so I'm going to start out with this. This is Pinkalicious, and this is from the Cherry Block. And so I'm just going to go ahead and ink this up. Now I grabbed the Rubelite, which is a little bit darker, because I'm going to get that top line here of this. And I'm okay if, like, you know, I kind of want it to blend in a little bit. So I'm okay if I get it where it's just a little on the tricky side. Okay. All right, here we go. So we're going to stamp this first. So this is my pink. So I'm getting that pink down. And I love this look because it's really another way that you can stretch your stamps by using these different ink colors. And you guys realize what I just did. No one told me. We're going to start over. You know what's awesome about paper? It's got two sides. That's the best thing about paper. It's got two sides. So if you make a mistake, you just turn it over and you try again. That's the best part of it. All right, so let's try this again. Somebody needs to write me a comment and remind me to remove the tape, because if you don't remove the tape, then you end up stamping your tape, which isn't what you want. No, John. All right, take two. Take two. So again, I'm starting out with the pink, and we're going to go through, we're just going to stamp 4 colors, but we're going to be in a rainbow, or my version of a rainbow anyway. This time I will remove the tape. And when we stamp this down, you're going to get this really super nice, clear, hopefully, pink part of this sentiment. So I can take the tape that I have, and I'm just going to kind of like brush it off or just wipe off the ink that's already there. It's not a big deal. It's kind of dried already. And what I have to do now when I pull this back, and I'm okay that I got a little pink on there. That's totally fine. What I'm going to do is I now am going to go to the next 2 lines. But I also have to do those first 2 lines. So normally I just take my piece of tape and I just put it in half. But for you guys, I will put up another piece of tape. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to grab, this is the Golden Sunset stamp set. And I'm going to grab the second one here. which I believe is chamomile. And I'm going to do the second one in chamomile. And what's nice about making the mistake on the first run is that you remember it for the second time you have to do it. So now I'm going to pull both of those pieces of tape off. Make sure this is lined up with my number 3. And we're going to go ahead and put that down. So there we go. All right, there we go. Looks great. Okay. So now we're going to get to our third one. Just realized I didn't clean that up. Okay. Fortunately, paper doesn't have 3 sides. All right, so now we're going to get to our next one. I'm going to wipe these off. And then I'm going to get to the next 2 lines. How many of you kind of walk around with inky fingers all the time? That is me in perpetuity, I think. All right, so I'm using Grass Field. This is from the Green Valley stamp set. So that's the next one I'm putting on. Okay, making sure I'm lined up with the 3. Tape, tape, somebody didn't tell me again. Tape. And putting that one down. All right. Now we're going to do our last color, which is the blue. And you can see how pretty that looks already. Nice and bold. I love a bold rainbow. I don't know about you guys if you're like, oh, I think, a pastel rainbow, but I really like a bold rainbow. I got to say, I'm all over a bold rainbow. All right, so now we're going to do our last one. Let me wipe this off. And it's our last 2 lines. So I actually only need 1 piece of tape. I'm going to grab my bigger one here. And let me put that down. And now I'm going to use this from Lapis Lazuli, which I think is my favorite blue set from Altenew. And this is Eastern Sky from Lapis Lazuli. All right. Okay. Lined up at the 3. And we're going to put that down. So you end up this really, really super nice rainbow sentiment. And so when we put these together, and I can even take like a little marker and make those a little bit more colorful. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to cut this down a little bit. And I can't believe I'm using scissors. I don't know how I made it out of kindergarten. Scissors and glue, I never did super well with. All right, so you can see we have this nice, big, bold sentiment. All right, so let me get Misty out of the way. And I'm going to show you guys a trick. And this is our last piece. And let's put this card together. So here I have my card base. I'm going to put on top of it that one we just did, which is actually over here. I'm going to use this one instead. And easy way to line it up. So my card is upside down. And I'm just going to put my card base right on top of it and line those up. Now, if I put this on here, you can see how it kind of like fades away a little bit. Well, do you remember that background we made way back when with the water? I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to find some, let's make this nice and broad. Let's make this nice and big. Probably need to make it a little bit smaller. So that's another thing. So I made this background and I'm going to use it now on this card just to give this a little bit of an edge to it, just to make it a little bit separate and pop it up from the background. And I could even use foam tape. I just don't have it right next to me. So I'm just going to use some of this just to get that down. And you have this really beautiful card. So let me put all these together so you can take a look at everything we did today. So from this one stamp set, that's eucalyptus jar, we were able to use the whole big image and sentiment. We were able to use the jar. We made our own paper, made our own card, used the jar, and we cut out some leaves from the Just Leaves die set. And then finally, we made a rainbow sentiment and this nice background. And we even used the paper we made using the watercolor brush markers. So I hope that today you learned something. I just wanted to say thank you all so much. I hope today that you learned something new in how you can kind of take one stamp set and do a ton of different things with it. And I really encourage you to take a look at your stamp sets and your dies and see how they work together, and use them very, very versatilely. So I just want to thank you so much for joining me today on the Altenew Facebook and YouTube Live. And I hope to see you very, very soon. Thank you so much for your time today.